Hey friends, Kylie here, your host of Dream On with Kylie O'Miller, back for another episode with 4 of the best players in our game. 4 people who are at all levels of their career right now, and 4 players who are incredible inspirations for those who come after them. Thank you as always for tuning in. These episodes are recorded from a live Zoom webinar that I hold through the KO17 Lacrosse app and are constructed into this Dream On podcast you have found here. I hope you are gaining some insight from these episodes from some of the people that I have met throughout my lacrosse journey that have imposed so much of their wisdom on me. If you're loving our episodes so far, show us some love in the reviews and rate us 5 stars. Also, be sure to SUBSCRIBE. It would mean the world to us. All right, we've got 4 very special guests on a very fun version of the Dream On podcast this week called A Group Chat, and I'm pumped to get right into it. This episode is truly something special, not only because it is our first ever group chat episode, but because of the people I was lucky enough to sit in a podcast studio in Dallas, Texas, and truly get to know. A little about our amazing crew for this episode. Charlotte North is back again, our only 2-time Dream On guest so far, making history as she does best on the lacrosse field. Nakeie Montgomery joins us on this episode, and he shares a ton about his experiences growing up as Charlotte's classmate in high school, as well as his journey to making it to the professional level he plays at today. Reese Robinson is one of the game's next big stars, committed to Rutgers and playing for the USA U18 select team, looking up to some of the game's biggest stars who came from her hometown of Dallas, just like Charlotte herself. Last but certainly not least, Kyle Harrison joins us as one of the biggest influential names this sport, or any sport, has ever known. His wisdom and leadership shines through in immaculate ways on this episode, and I was truly grateful to be surrounded by it. Each of our guests has a unique experience in their success on the lacrosse field. Each of them has drawn inspiration from some of the greatest athletes and mentors that surround them, and each of them have high hopes for not only their personal futures, but the future of this sport and how they hope to help elevate it in certain ways. To hear this group bounce ideas off each other, grab little nuggets, as Nakeie says, of wisdom as we chatted was something I will never forget. I'm very grateful to be able to give you all a very special group chat. Enjoy. All right, so I'm going to introduce our incredible guests here today on the Dream On Pod. First off, we're going to start with Kyle Harrison. He is a national champion with Johns Hopkins. He is a Tewaaraton winner. He's in the Hopkins Hall of Fame. He's a former Redwoods Lacrosse Club player in the PLL. He played professionally for 17 years. And he also played for the USA national team. Charlotte North is here. She's a 2-time Tewaaraton winner, a national champion with Boston College, most recently a gold medalist with Team USA, and an Athletes Unlimited professional lacrosse player. Nakeie Montgomery is also here. He's a Duke lacrosse alum. He's a multi-time All-American and a current professional for the Redwoods Lacrosse Club in the PLL. Reese Robinson is also here. She plays for Grit Lacrosse Club down here in Dallas, Texas. She's a Rutgers commit. She's also on the USA U18 select team, and she's an adrenaline All-American. So as you can see, we've got a ton of accolades here in this room, but just as great as they are lacrosse players, they're also just incredible people, and I'm excited to learn more about each of their individual stories and show you all a little bit of a piece of what makes them so great on and off the lacrosse field. So first and foremost, our listeners know we always start on a good foot with the Dream On Pod. And I like to know where you're all at today, right here in this moment. So for reference, we are in Dallas, Texas on Sunday, January 29th at about 9 a.m. in the morning. And we are ready to go. We get to coach a little bit right after this. So one thing that I would like to know, I'm going to ask each of you one of these. So Charlotte, what is something you're thankful for today?
I'm thankful for the community that lacrosse has brought us to, not just on the women's side, but the men's side. I think, today is a special opportunity where we get to work together on both sides and help grow the game down here in Texas. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. All right, Kyle, I'm going to skip over to you. What is something that you're proud to say that you've accomplished today?
Heavy. One, Charlotte, love your answer and completely agree. I guess something I'm proud of that I've accomplished, I think would be being a husband and dad, right? Like I think if you asked me 10 years ago, there's probably different things I was chasing 10, 15 years ago, but at this point in my life, I am proudest accomplishment is definitely my children and my wife.
Love that. Tugging on the heartstrings right from the get-go. All right, Reese, can you tell me someone you are grateful for today or in this moment?
I'd probably say like Maggie and Molly, just for like helping me, kind of just pushing me to like be the best player I can be. Mm-hmm. So
Maggie and Molly are your coaches, right?
yes, for grit.
That's amazing. I know that Charlotte has some similar stories from some of the same coaches.
I could duplicate your answer. I could talk about them for hours.
I love it. And last but not least, Nakeie, something that you are pumped to go out and chase. It could be with the rest of today, the rest of the week, the rest of the year. What's something you're pumped to chase?
I'm excited to go out today and help the kids out. You know, give them some pointers, give them some nuggets, give them something hopefully that they can remember, take home, and expand on and grow on.
Love that. All right, so we're talking about the sport that we all know and love, the sport that got us all into this room today, and that is lacrosse. So I'd like to know a story about how you started, or when you first picked up a lacrosse stick, or someone that brought you to the game and kept you in the game. I think all of us have different stories, different beginning points, and I'd love to hear about each and every one of you. So, Kyle, can we start with you?
Yeah, sure. I'll be brief. Be it from Baltimore, like everybody played, right? Like it was just, you walk outside, you look at everybody's lawn, you look at any field, there are people playing. But my father started a team with his teammates and coach at a historically black college, Morgan in Baltimore, Morgan State, first HBCU to have a team, actually. So my earliest memories are, life-size picture of my dad in his office, 18 jersey playing. And so from the time I remember, walking, sitting on the dishwasher, those type of things, like I remember a stick in my hand as well. So that was the start.
That's amazing. Nakeie, how about you?
I envy that. I imagine like in a perfect world, like a world where there's just a bunch of lacrosse nets and a bunch of front yards, and you just walk outside and there's someone playing. You can just go hop in a game. That's cool. Like in Dallas, there's like a lot of nets, I feel like, but it's not really the picture he just painted.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That was nice.
Got to drive a few miles.
Yeah. You got to text a few people too.
Yeah. You got to have people who know people.
But no, when I first started playing lacrosse, I was in third grade. I tell this story all the time, but my friend Preston Randolph, who went and played at Hampton, he was a grade above me. He was in fourth grade, and I was in third grade, and he was walking. It was after school, and usually we'd go to after school care. And I'm following him, and I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to lacrosse practice. I'm like, what's that? Blah, blah, blah. Call my mom, hey, can I go to lacrosse practice with Preston? Go out there. It was so fun, but I remember I couldn't pick up the ball. I just couldn't pick it up. And this guy made fun of me, who went and played basketball at Oklahoma State. And when he made fun of me, I was like, all right, like I'm gonna figure this sport out.
Wow, that's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, like some of the hardest pieces of the sport, like we see it because we work with so many beginners now, right? Like you see some of the things that they get frustrated at was literally your whole motivation for where you are today. That's awesome. Reese, what about you? What brought you to the sport?
So I started in first grade, but I really wanted to play ice hockey, and then it was too physical, so my mom saw a flyer for McKinney Lacrosse. I started that, and then that's where I met my role model, Megan Carney.
Shout out.
She plays for Syracuse now. She's a fifth year, but after starting that, I did lessons with Megan, saw her play and develop, which just pushed me to love the game. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. Role models all in this room. Charlotte, what about you?
Started playing in 7th grade for my school team. Same kind of story. My friends were going after spring practice. I didn't play a spring sport, but played pretty much every other sport known to man. And I wanted to just stay involved and be with them and be on a team. And I went out to practice, couldn't catch and throw or pick up a ball for a while, but I loved, the combination of all different, athletic traits in the sport. And Maggie actually a few years later moved down to Dallas and took over with Molly our club program. And I guess she was the one who kept me in it and kept me on the track and allowed me to fall in love with the sport. I loved it from the beginning. I really wanted to dive into it, but I didn't really know or have a path to do that or someone to follow, someone to teach me. And so she did that for me when she moved down here. And ever since, we'd watch games together, we'd study YouTube clips, we'd, find every college, highlight reel we could. And she, allowed me to fall in love with it for sure.
That's amazing. the things that people around us do for us, right? And it's really great to look back on and reflect on. And I want to kind of fast forward a little bit through from the time you all started and you first picked up the stick and the motivations behind that into a lot of times on the Dream On Pod, we like to talk about envisioning our goals or dreaming, really. So I want to know about a story from your career so far, whether it's, again, at the youth level, high school, college, pro, whatever it might be, that you envision still to this day, that still gives you goosebumps. Might have been something a teammate did, might have been winning a national championship, might have been just a moment that if you can close your eyes and you're trying to get into a locked-in zone space, what is that play or moment that you envision in your head? Who wants to start?
I guess I'll go.
Yeah, love it. Go ahead.
So I'm still in high school, so I don't have a lot, but probably winning a state championship for my high school my sophomore year. It was after COVID. We had a few ACL injuries. We started off the season 0-3. So just winning against our rival team still gives me goosebumps. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Coming back from adversity as a team. That's great. Kyle, you have one?
Oh, God. I mean, we could spend the next 4 hours. I got a ton. And that's just a sign of my age. But I think I went to a school called Friends growing up. It's like a Quaker school. We were not very competitive athletically. We were in the A conference, all the good conferences, but we weren't competitive with those folks. And so I have a affinity for team, because in order for any sort of win to happen or goal to be scored, it took all of us trying to figure it out. I'm literally talking we're ready for a game and a kid's coming from the glee club and the other cat's coming with his trombone, and we're all just mixing together trying to figure this out. But I was lucky that my best friend since third grade, defensive midfielder Benson Irwin, he went to Hopkins with me. Both committed there, played together, and he was the heart and soul of our team. But he was a D-midi, so never got credit that he probably deserved. And now I think defensive midfielders get a little more credit. I think there's a spot in the All-American team for them now. Right. Back then there wasn't. And so Final Four my senior year, overtime against Virginia. We were every year we were there. We were number 1 seed, and then we hadn't won a national championship yet. So this is senior year, last chance. Overtime, Virginia, he is on the field. We make a stop. We outlet it to Paul Rabel. He carries it down. He hits Benson, who, again, defensive midfielder should not be the guy in the position he's in. And he hits a step down, and we win. We go to the national championship. But, that moment, that, the heart and soul that never, ever got credit, got the credit he deserved. And then, obviously, being my best friend, that's one I pull from all the time.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps. I love it. I love it. Nakeie, what about you?
For me, it's in general, something that just kind of gets me motivated for games and just in general every day, is a saying that Coach Caputo and Coach Janowski would always say: how you do something is how you do everything. And so just kind of that saying, you can implement that driving, you know what I'm saying? I'm driving, I put 2 hands, you know what I'm saying? 9 and 1, I'm just you know what I'm saying? Trying to be the best driver I can be.
Yeah.
That just in general, that phrase is something from college that is the truest thing ever, and something that is almost tangible, to be honest.
I like that one. It's a new one. I always get a new one on the Dream On Pod, and I always go home and write it down, so thank you. All right, Char, last but not least.
Oh, it's hard to pick. I think the year I transferred to Boston College was the year we got shut down for COVID. But it was a brand new team. Most of the starters had graduated. There was a bunch of transfers who were new. Myself, Rachel Hall, Bridget Simmons, and we were tasked with this. You're joining a new team, middle of your college career, but also they were trying to find their identity as well. They were a new team, and we were coming in, and it was a big challenge. I mean, change is hard no matter where you place it. And we had a rocky start to the season, but it was really cool. A lot of people talk about the year after when we came back and we won it all, but it was really the end of that year where, we had gone through so much adversity, and a lot of media has grown in the sport of lacrosse, and there's a lot of outside pressure no matter where you are or what stage you're at. And we would always just say, like, nothing else matters besides what's in the locker room. Like, regardless of anything, nobody knows who we are but us. And we figured it out together through a lot of adversity. And I think, that put us on the trajectory to come back the fall after that. And, it was COVID. We had a lot of restrictions, but we had figured out, who we wanted to be. And we all were a collective unit in a locker room, bought into that idea and that theme and that identity. And I think that's what made us really hard to stop. And I think, tying that to the women's game and wanting to do whatever it takes to fight for gender equality in our sport, it just takes, a bunch of strong women in a locker room ready to commit to that goal. And I think, what you saw last summer with our U.S. team, I think it was the same feel. So I think, you can kind of correlate that feeling to our team this past summer, where it was just so cool to see a bunch of really strong women who were not going to accept no for an answer and stop for anything. And you see where we are now. It's incredible, and I hope to continue to help it grow.
I think your answer just gave me goosebumps. All right, so another thing we'd like to talk about, and outside of the things that we envision in our own heads that get us pumped up, is the role models that are around us. And I think something that's really great within our sport is that we have the opportunity a lot of times to grow up envisioning ourselves to play or be like our role models on and off the fields. And then we end up playing into those roles for the next generation and for the people who come underneath us. And I think we have a little bit of that in this room, which is really special. And I like to attest it to full circle moments. Like, for me, it was this first time I stepped on a USA lacrosse field at a tryout. I was surrounded by Michelle Tumalo, Katrina Dowd, Kayla Trainer, people that I spent hours looking up on YouTube and being like, wow, how do I implement that into my game? If I got to meet her, what would I say? And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to, pass her the ball and make sure like my pass from her goes in the back of the net, and, all these full circle moments. So what I'd like to kind of talk about in this next segment is a little bit of Nakeie and Kyle's mentorship and vice versa, right? And then Reese and Charlotte as well. So let's start with Nakeie and Kyle. So Nakeie, how have you looked up to players like Kyle throughout your entire journey? And, how have they shaped your aspirations to become who you are and where you're at now?
Yeah, well, every kid, like everyone who does something wants to be like the best, right? So it's like, in that alone, obviously you want to be like Kyle, right? You want to be like ACC midfielders. You want to be like Paul. You want to be, you want to be the best. But then for me, I'm in 3rd, 4th grade. It's like Kyle's also African American. You know what I'm saying? He looks exactly like me, and it's a sport where that's just not like that. And so, I mean, for me, like, Charlotte, Kyle know me best. Like, they know, like, I'm all about, like, the village. Like, it's all about people who come before you, people who come after you, and people who are there with you. It's not about you. Through us, you can rise, but it's not about you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I thank you all the time, but Kyle, I can't thank you enough, man, just for, like, like, leading the way, like, blazing a path. Like, you accomplished your dream, and in doing that, helped so many more accomplish their dream. You know what I'm saying? Like, in just accomplishing your dream,
yeah.
So it's powerful, and
oh, man.
can't
I
thank you
appreciate
enough.
you, brother.
And Kyle, I'd like you to, reciprocate on that, because I think that's so special and definitely really, at least, tugs on my heartstrings for sure. But how have you seen, like, your position, like Nakeie was saying, right? You accomplished your dreams as a player. You wanted to do everything that you possibly could. Yeah. And how have you seen that kind of evolve into you being a role model now for so many?
Yeah. No, I mean, me and Nak, I think we feel like the last couple months we've gotten to do this a lot, which is awesome for me. It never gets old. I think, every time I hear Nak or say something like he said, to your point, pulls on the heartstrings, and it, I don't know, just makes me wildly grateful for all of the different opportunities I've had through the sport and what we've been able to do. But honestly, I think when I look at my career and I look at guys like Nak, Miles, I mean, the list goes on forever of this young generation of black players specifically that are just so talented and so gifted. If I had any role in motivating them and them seeing someone that looked like them, and that was my role, then I did my job. And the hope is that he goes longer than I went. He has bigger deals than I had. And then there's probably some cat right now in New York or California or Seattle watching him that's going to come along in 15 years and do more than he did. And like that's the goal here. And again, I'm so fortunate that I'm well aware that when I came out, like everything kind of went right. Like ESPN was just starting to cover lacrosse. We won a national championship. I'm a black player in a predominantly white sport. I signed some endorsement deals. Like I get that, like from a marketability and visibility perspective, like I hit it at the right time. But to Nak's point, like I got to chase my dream of being the best athlete I could possibly be, and through that, if it inspired anyone to chase their dreams, then it was a win. And hearing Nak talk the way he talks, and seeing everything, he's going to play for the next 20 years and break all kinds of records. And like I said, 15 years from now, when I'm an old man and you're an older man, and we're sitting around watching the next guy or next girl that was inspired by our group, then this is a win.
I can confidently say you've inspired all of us in this room, so thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right, I'm switching it over to the girls here, the Dallas girls, and I'm excited to hear about these stories too. And Reese, I'm going to start with you. So what was it like for you to grow up in Dallas and kind of watch firsthand someone like Charlotte, right? And your role models like Meg Carney, right? Really just kind of come from where you come from and be able to make it to the tip top. And how did that help you aspire to reach your goals as well?
Yeah, so I watched Charlotte in the national championship game, and it was just such a surreal experience, like all the girls out there, and she just had so much of an effect on like how people think about Texas. Like I would go to clinics and camps, I'd be like, yeah, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and every single time they'd be like, do you know Charlotte North? And I'd be like, yeah, and then I don't know, it was just so cool, just like pinpointing that spot on Texas. And now I just feel like she really just grew the game here. Every single person kind of takes Texas a little bit more seriously now that like we have big names coming out of it, and that just kind of motivates me to it just motivates me to like be a bigger person and just want to grow my game and work hard to like be one of the next names coming out of Texas like Charlotte, and yeah, that just motivates me a lot, just watching her grow.
Thanks, Reese.
I love
Of
it.
course.
And we can't wait to watch her do exactly that and even
Yeah,
more.
it's a goal.
Oh, yeah.
It's a goal.
Yeah. And Char, on the vice versa side of that, what does it mean to you to have another talent like Reese and a lot of the talent that you're seeing coming from your hometown, making it to the next level, and like to Reese's point, right, just kind of coming from a quote-unquote non-hotbed sport, a non-hotbed location, right? What is that? What is your hope for that in terms of other non-hotbed areas across the country, across the world, who can hopefully reach it to the levels that you've been to too?
Yeah, well, first off, I think put the world on notice because Reese is incredible out on the field. And, I mean, she's more athletic than I ever was at that age. And she's just her hard work from day one. I know, one of my best friends is Megan Carney, and she grew up working with her. And I just have watched her grow throughout her stages of her career, and it's been incredible. And I think it's also a credit to our amazing coaches that have moved down here. I mean, we mentioned Maggie and Molly, but there's a number of them, Faith, who have moved down here and committed to really growing the sport before I was here, before I started playing. And then, during my career in high school, I got extremely lucky to get to work with them and learn from them. And they've started this amazing club team that we both have played for, Grit Lacrosse, and they just push the needle and try to get us to as many events in front of as many coaches, and just learn, as much as we possibly can about the sport. They host events down here in the summer, and they beg coaches to come to Texas. They would do anything to get just these talented college coaches or East Coast coaches to come down here, just to give their players, what they think they deserve. And it's just a credit to them because it's in such a good place right now, and it's really on an upward trajectory. And people like Reese are evidence of that. And I think that it's not only that, but it's also how Reese is committed to growing the sport down here as well. I mean, she talked about it before we hopped on here, but she's a natural leader on her team. She's helped them grow into a great high school program just by being herself and wanting to, win and be successful. And I think that's gonna serve her well in college and down the road, but also give a chance for those younger girls that she's mentoring right now to take the reins when she leaves. And then, again, like Kyle said, that's all we can hope to do is to influence the next generation so that we leave it in a.
Taking a quick little time out from our episode here to say a massive thank you for listening. Dream On started off as a way to have conversations with some of the people that I've been lucky to come in contact with and really dig deep into what makes them tick and how they've become so elite in their spaces. If you're enjoying these conversations as much as I have been, please consider rating us with a solid 5 stars and leave us a review. I love hearing all of your incredible thoughts on how we can continue to dream on together with these episodes. Oh, and subscribe if you're feeling cool. All right, let's get back to our guest.
Better place than we found it.
Well said. Well said. Now I can't wait to watch you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Now
me
I
too.
can't
You
wait.
guys-
Right?
I'm on
Hopefully
board,
I
too. Yeah, I'm
live up
sure.
to it. I know.
For sure.
Oh, amazing. All right, so as we know, I think any high-achieving person, or honestly most people in the world, go through some sort of adversity throughout their lives. And I think that is something that I'm currently enduring. So it's something that's on the top of my head, with an injury that so many people in our sport have endured and come back from and been better from. So I'd love to take this moment to kind of ask a really high-level group of people and athletes about some moments of adversity that you all have faced, how you've gotten through them, what you've learned from them, and how you've taken into the next challenge or the next obstacle you faced, been able to kind of take what you took from that and attack it with a full head of steam. So Nakeie and Reese, I'm going to ask you guys about this question here, and if you have something that comes to mind, feel free to hop on the mic, some level of adversity that you've faced and how you've learned from it.
I'd probably say my recruiting summer. Luckily, I haven't gone through any injuries yet, knock on wood. But I was up in the Northeast for 2.5 months over the summer. I was home for 2 weeks. I was living out of hotels. Because, there's, no camps, clinics in Texas. You have to be up north. You have to be in hotels. And that was probably, my most challenging thing I've ever been through. Just, going up north and, adjusting to the IQ up there. Being from Texas, you don't know your opponents or anything like that. And it was a very stressful summer, just in and out of hotels. I didn't get to see my friends, and it obviously paid off, but it was just a very big adjustment for me on the IQ level. And I was just, exhausted. I probably went to, 5 camps up north every single week trying to get recruited because you just have to kind of, make a name for yourself in Texas, being from Texas up north. And yeah, that was just so challenging. I'm glad it's over. And now I'm just looking for the next steps, trying to get better for college.
Yeah. Biggest hardship probably was mentally freshman year in college. It was just, you kind of come from being, the star, at your high school. It's pretty cliche story, you know what I'm saying? But you get to college and it's like a different ball game. You got to throw the ball harder. You got to have a right, a left. Guys are now 6'5", you know what I'm saying? And that, it's a game of inches. That's 6-7 inches that you're not used to, you know what I'm saying? It's a big deal. Yeah, I mean that was just in general pretty hard. That was really the first time in my life. And I say this all the time, and if any high school coaches or anything are listening, be hardest on your best players. Be literally your best players can't do anything good enough. Just because they'll just be so much better for it in college as opposed to being quote unquote the man or the best player, whatever. Mr. or Mrs. can't do anything wrong. Oh, she's just so perfect. She's our All-American. Have you not heard of her? Blah 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 blah. All that. You're gonna get humbled at some point. Might as well get humbled at 15, 16.
Yeah.
That's right.
You don't want to be 18, brand new environment. That's right. Mom,
Right.
Kyle in LA. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nobody, and now you're getting humbled for the first time. You know what I'm saying? You it's gonna happen eventually. So, I mean, for me, just getting humbled at almost 20 in a new environment as a freshman, which pretty quick reversal from what I was 6 months ago.
Right.
4 or 5 months ago, you know what I'm saying? That's something that you're better for in life once it happens. But I mean, it's not easy.
No, it's a great piece of advice. We definitely have a lot of, coaches and youth coaches and parents who are looking for certain pieces of advice, and I think that's a fantastic one right there.
Yeah, well, and sorry, I have to. Like, we love talent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, we just love talent. Like, oh, she's so talented. She's the best. Like, but, like, we love that, but we don't like hard work. Like, do you really hear a parent talking about a 14-year-old? Like, oh, he's on the wall every day. That's why he's so good. Like, no. Yeah. It's just, oh, he's talented. We love talent. And so, that's, I don't know.
Yeah,
just a little,
the effort and the work is what makes the difference, right?
Yeah, and we don't really praise that. We praise talent.
Right.
That's right.
I like that, flipping the script on that. That's important. Okay, Kyle and Charlotte, I would like to know a little bit about certain pieces of adversity that you're both facing now in terms of what you do for the sport on, off the field. I mean, you both do a ton of work within the lacrosse world, whether that's on field playing and training, coaching all genders, all age levels, all over the world, working within higher up administrative offices and roles that really help push narratives. So I guess to my question, what do you see as one of those most important narratives that you're really working for and kind of working through adversity to make sure happens for the future of our game right now?
Damn. That's a wild question.
You got it. You go first.
Yeah, I mean, that's I'm honestly, before I give my answer, I think I'm super interested in Charlotte's because she, I think she has one of the more difficult roles in lacrosse that's ever been professionally on the men's or women's side. She is a true superstar, and I think we haven't had many of those on either side that just demand thousands of people walking behind. Like I say it all the time. I said it a couple weeks ago talking about you. Mike Powell, I remember. I was a rookie in pro lacrosse, and we were playing the Cannons. I was on New Jersey. I think we actually got pumped in the game. But I remember Mike Powell, he's my GOAT. He's my favorite player of all time. But I remember kids screaming for him. But then I remember after the game, thousands of them walking behind him and him surrounded by cops. And that's how this dude had to move. And we've maybe had one other male that carries that, but I've never seen it at the level that Charlotte has it. And it's just starting, and so the role that you're going to play over the next 20 years is going to be wild. So super excited to hear what you're going to have to say. And thank you for all you're doing for the sport, and we'll continue to do. But I guess for me, look, my role, I'm just trying to, behind the scenes, however I can, just continue to unify the sport and push it forward. I think ultimately, as a man in general, I think I've been just working on giving people the benefit of the doubt. I think we're in a time where you can say the wrong thing, you can tweet the wrong thing, somebody can grab a quote out of context, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is how I feel about so and so. When in actuality, I think specifically within our sport, most of us all want the same thing, right? Which is just unification between the men's and the women's game, and to get sticks in more people's hands. And at the pro level, we want it to be full time for men and women, that they're just players, and then just trickle it on down, right? So we all, I think, want the same thing, and that doesn't necessarily mean we all have the same path of getting to that same thing. But I think if we're in a room together and give each other the benefit of the doubt and give each other grace and not be so quick to judge someone's opinion on what they see for the future of the game, I think we'll get there. I mean, we got people like her that are literally bringing in new dollars, or bringing in new eyeballs. We're in a great spot for growth of the sport. And so I guess long-winded way of saying my goal over the next 10, 15 years, as I'm behind the scenes, is just to try and continue to unify the sport. That's it.
Great answer. And thank you, Kyle. I mean, you're someone who I'm sure, Kylie would agree on this. We look up to, and not only how you handled yourself on the field, but off the field as well with, the younger generation, but also, in your everyday life, you're as connected as it gets in the sport, and you're as, inspiring as it gets. So we definitely look up to you every day in a day-to-day process.
Appreciate that.
So that's huge. I think, I agree with everything that you said, and I have a little twist to it, but it's definitely that theme of unifying the sport and being able to just work behind the scenes in ways that people haven't, really thought of as, technically a career, especially on the women's side. I think, I agree. We all want the same thing. We all want, to help grow the sport and help have professional lacrosse, be here to stay and be a real job and legitimate, career that people, take seriously. And I think it takes a lot of work. And, we are fortunate enough that we've looked up to so many people in our game that might not be given the credit for what they've done, not only on the field, but professionally and internationally, and to help grow. Dana Dobie, she's not often recognized, but she's working day in and day out to help, get this game to the Olympics. And then there's, Taylor Cummings and Kayla Trainer, who we got to learn from on field, but also, they were the reason we were on ESPN this summer. And Jenny Levy again, and all the great coaches out there, my head coach in college, Acacia Walker. I know all of these strong women and leadership roles are working to push the needle, and, break barriers. And I think, that's probably the first thing I want to tackle, and, work alongside these influential women to do whatever it takes to get there. And I think, people like Reese and all of the talented players coming up, it's so cool to have, access to the sport like they do now. And I think I would have done anything for that at that age. And I think, it just shows we're in a really good spot. But I think individually, I also would like to kind of break down the narrative of a female athlete in general, not just in our sport, but I think, female athletes are looked at as, a slower pace of sport, less aggressive, atmosphere, not having this role of being, strong and empowering, but instead you're kind of, athletic, but you kind of fit the mold. And I think, we want to do that for our sport. And I definitely want to serve in that role. But I think, for female sports on the whole, to kind of break down, the talk of, our sport's not as exciting because we don't hit each other, or things like that. It's just, getting people to honor and respect and appreciate, how our sport's different, and also unify how much we can work together. Because like you said, we're all working towards the same thing, and it could be really cool to see women's and men's professionally come together, for the rest of the time.
Hey guys, Kylie here. A short break from our conversation to remind you to check in on our social channels. You can find little snippets from our episodes on Instagram at dream.on_pod. And if you're a lacrosse stud looking for a unique way to train and develop into the best version of yourself, like our guest here most definitely has, check out the KO17 Lacrosse app in the App Store. That's KO17 Lacrosse. And at DREAM_ON_POD on Instagram. Come join the fam and we can keep dreaming on together. Okay, enough of that. We back. Well said. If you're not behind any of these initiatives, get on board because they are going all the way up to the top. And one thing that I really like to talk about on the Dream On Pod, and obviously as our listeners can tell, you all have been inspired by so many people. And whether that's coaches, whether that's other pros, whether that's people who have been in your shoes at some point throughout your career, I'd like to know, and we'll go down the line, a quick little quote or piece of advice or something that you've taken throughout your lacrosse journey into life, into who you are as an athlete, as a person, as a leader, that's really stuck with you, and who that kind of advice came from. Reese, you got one?
Yeah. So from Molly, just like your success is in your own hands. Nobody's going to go out there and do wall ball for you or, work hard for you. So I just been taking that into my hands, and I'm going to take that into college. Just that my success is on me. I have to put in the work in order to be like the player that I want to be and reach my goals. So that's just very important to me, and I just hope that all my hard work is going to pay off in college, and I can really make an impact where I go.
Oh, it will. Absolutely. Kyle, we'll go
I
down
can't
the
wait to watch you play. I don't know when it's going to happen. But
No, I'm
yeah,
watching.
slide it
Must
over.
watch
Schedule.
TV.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I'm pulling up. I've done this for so long that there have been. We don't have enough time to talk about how many people have influenced me, from coaches to teammates to former pros. Like, I was so lucky that when I came in the pro game, like, I came into Jesse Hubbard, so I came into like an all-time great that was also like an entrepreneur and married and had kids, and like, so I had a role model from like the second I got to New Jersey. So I don't have enough time to list them all. I've just been fortunate. But in terms of a quote, like, without going into detail, so in my family, we have a saying, no matter what. And it came from my wife and my daughter. And it was actually all built around when she was getting in trouble. And she would say, like, I love you no matter what. And then it has just, like, taken on a bunch of different shapes and forms of saying within our family. I have it tattooed on my leg, and it's, I love it. And so that would be my quote.
That's amazing.
I kind of said mine, so I'm going to take a slightly different approach. Our high school, we went to the same high school, Charlotte and I, ESD. They recently reached out to the second best athlete to graduate from there, me, for the Eagle Edition. It's like a school magazine, basically. And they asked me, they said, words of wisdom. What do you think are the secrets to being successful in your profession? And I was like, oh man, that's a tough one. So kind of circling back to what I was saying earlier, like my thing is like, it takes a village. Like I have so many role models, like so many people that I could just call and get nuggets from here, and just like people from different walks of life, from different places. Like that's, if you've met my mom, you would kind of understand why I have such a, like, we're just an open book. We're, you know what I'm saying? We're just a good group of people. So I called all my people up, not to ask anything about this question, but just to talk. And then she wanted this by Wednesday, so then maybe like Tuesday night I wrote this. So what do you think are the secrets of being successful? I said, I think that in general, the keys to being successful is simple. I think that firstly, everyone should live to make the world a better place. The older I get, I realize that it simply isn't about me. It's about us. And through us, I can elevate. Second, open your doors and open your lives to other people that are different from you. The broader your perspectives, the more places you'll fit in, the more you'll allow yourself to learn, and the more you'll appreciate where it is that you come from. Lastly, all caps, be nice. You never know who is watching, and you never know who you'll have to see again. Simple.
That's right.
Wow. Snaps for that one.
How'd you simplify it like that? That's good stuff.
That's incredible. Charlotte, last but not least, you got a nugget for us? I like that, by the way, that term, nugget. I'm going to use it.
They're just out there.
I go back and forth. I don't know. There's, again, so many people have influenced me, and I don't necessarily have a quote, but I think the best thing about, you know, our sport and what we get to do is the relationships. And I know so many people say it, but it just brings you, you know, so much joy to see and meet people and learn from people and be influenced and inspired by people. It's such a powerful thing in life. And this sport is just, you know, the vehicle that has allowed us to do that. And I'm so grateful for it, and for all the people, you know, older and younger and same age, you know, that I've been able to meet and be influenced by. And I think, you know, that is when I learn the most about myself, about, you know, what I can do to help others. And you know, I can't say enough about all the people that are in this sport, you know, from teammates in college to professionally and with the national team and coaches along the way. And even people, you know, who are connected to the sport in a different way. And especially the people we're going to get to work with today. I mean, you're going to see a lot of, you know, people in the Dallas lacrosse community who have influenced us heavily. And, you know, to be able to connect back with them in events like this, it's so rare and unique. And I think we're in a really special place to be able to do that. And I'm very grateful for it, just to get to connect and have those relationships that, you know, you commit to growing over time. And like Nakeie said, I mean, you can call them up any day and learn from them, tell them, you know, how you're doing and ask how they are. And it's so special in life.
So much about connection in this sport, and it's one of my favorite words. It's one of my favorite things to kind of go back to, and you guys all are hitting right on it, and that's why I'm so grateful to be in this room right now. We actually have a couple questions from our KO17 fam who wrote in for you all, and we have one of our most avid listeners, Macy McGuire, and she wants to know, how do you feel before a big game? And how do you prepare for it mentally? I'll leave this open for anyone who wants to hop onto it.
Well, the first thing that our coaches always used to say is that if you're nervous, it's a good thing, because that means you care. So nerves are a good thing. I mean, for me, it just helps to just kind of envision what your job is, you know, kind of close your eyes at night before, a couple nights before, and just envision what it is that you have to do, what it is that you do that helps the team be successful. And once you really think about it, it's something that you've done hundreds of times, and it's something that you're incredibly capable of doing. So you're gonna that feeling in your stomach, it's gonna be there. It's a thing. It means you care, and embrace it, and just keep it simple. Do your job.
I'll piggyback off him because I'm someone who gets extremely nervous before games. And I used to joke with Maggie in high school, and I would get so nervous before an ESC Hockey Day game, a state championship game. And she'd call them game day jitters. And when I got to college, they just amplified by like millions and millions. And it's a skill over time to learn how to translate nervous energy into positive nervous energy, I guess, in a locker room. And it can be incredibly contagious. And I think, one of my favorite parts about sports in general is that you just can't find this feeling anywhere else. You can't find the feeling of getting to go out on a field on game day with your teammates, before the opening draw, and just having, those butterflies in your stomach. But I think, I still haven't perfected it, but I think, one of the coolest things is to learn how to, outwardly project your nervous energy, and you never know who that's helping in the locker room. Maybe someone's a quiet, nervous, and to get them to kind of project that back to you can be helpful for them, and yourself, and in turn it's just going to help on the field. So I think it's definitely a learned skill, but it's a unique feeling. It's very cool, and it does mean you care. I agree. But yeah, I think that's something I learned in high school. And
Hey guys, Kylie here. A short break from our conversation to remind you to check in on our social channels. You can find little snippets from our episodes on Instagram at dream.on_pod. And if you're a lacrosse stud looking for a unique way to train and develop into the best version of yourself, like our guest here most definitely has, check out the KO17 Lacrosse app in the App Store. That's KO17 Lacrosse. And at DREAM_ON_POD on Instagram. Come join the fam and we can keep dreaming on together. Okay, enough of that. We back.
and beyond.
I love that, and I have personal experience being Charlotte's teammate, so I know that is beyond true. And I can piggyback off that as well, because I'm very similar. In big moments, it's a lot of nervous jitters, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, overthinking and in the moment, and kind of just, putting yourself in all of these what-if scenarios. So to be able to be surrounded by teammates that are struggling one way or another, and however they like to showcase that, I've found very similarly that putting my energy outward, and even in just having conversations or hyping up a teammate who hit a great shot during warm-ups, that helps me get some of that energy out and hopefully do a little bit of what Charlotte was saying there. So well said, Char. Another question from our KO17 fam. This is from on Instagram at laxgirl2009. What is the most important quality of a great lacrosse player to you?
It's a good one. Any thoughts?
I would say just mentality, because you can have all the talent, but if you're not in a positive mindset and don't put in the work, then over time you're just going to be an average player.
That's right. I like that. I think my two would be coachable, right? I think there's tons of incredible coaches, to everybody's point in here, from folks moving down to Dallas and growing the game to the event we'll do today, to events we all do all over the world, really. So a ton of great coaches. So be coachable and listen. And then lastly, from a skill perspective, your work ethic in this sport matters. There's still a sense, and I guess I'm talking on the men's side specifically for a second, basketball, football, there is a very specific body type that if you are not that body type, you better be the 0.000% of the best athlete of all time, or you're not stepping on those fields. Whereas in our sport, why I fell in love with it and was gravitating towards it specifically late high school, beginning of college, was if you work on this thing and you work on your skills every day, there is a tangible improvement that happens the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then eventually you're going to get to a point where you don't even have to think about it anymore because you've done it so many times. And it's the one sport other than maybe golf, I've heard, in this category too. But like, it comes down to like who's going to put in the most time. You either put in the most time or you don't. And then if you're lucky enough to also be athletic and put in that time, then you get this and this. Like that's how it goes. So coachability and work ethic.
I love that. That's a deadly combo right there.
It is.
All right, we're going to finish with our favorite segment on the Dream On pod, and that's called Quick Finishes. Very lacrosse of us.
Yeah. Quick
finish. We're going to go down the line. We'll start with Charlotte on all of them. I like that one, by the way. Oh, man. We got about 6 rapid-fire questions that just allow our listeners to get to know you guys a little bit more off the field. So, Charlotte, what is your favorite candy?
Not a huge candy person. More salty, not sweet.
Okay, what's your go-to? Is it a Coke?
A Coke, yeah. A fountain Coke with the perfect ice consistency.
Can you guys tell we were roommates at
Yeah.
US training weekend?
Yeah, Kylie knows the answer.
Okay, what's yours? Favorite candy or sweet tooth treat?
Just any sour candy. I love just like sour gummy, just the worst candy for you. Love it.
Yeah, so I like what Charlotte did with it. I mean, there's tons of candies I love, from jelly beans to sour candy. But if I could like pick one sweet for the rest of my life, it would be a fountain cherry Dr. Pepper from that, like, that machine that has
The touch screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
touch screen machine.
Elite.
Give me that. Yeah, give me that.
I'd say sweet tart ropes. I have them before every single game.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
kind of like my little,
Nice.
what's it called?
Superstition?
Yeah, superstition.
Love it. I eat a handful of Skittles before every game, so we're on
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
same
say.
wavelength. Yeah, it's like,
you
go.
started with like a half a bag, now I'm at like 3 Skittles. But superstitions all the way. All right, Charlotte, who is an athlete that you like to follow for inspiration?
So many. I gotta go on the women's side. Sue Bird. She's just greatest of all time, and she's just influenced so many female athletes, beyond her sport, which is incredible. On the men's side, I gotta go with Steph Curry. I've looked up to him for a long time. Very generic answer, but I think, to Kyle's point of, having the athletic ability as well as the work ethic, I think, he was doubted because of his size and his ability to match, with some of the guys on the court. And then, his, what he's done because of how hard he's worked in terms of, redefining his position and changing the sport of basketball has been very incredibly inspiring to me.
Yeah, so many. I'm going to give another shout out because she was on murals at my elementary school, and she was like the first. I used to run track. She was like Jackie Joyner-Kersee. She was like unreal track star, like one of the first black Olympian gold medalists. You like forget about some things from your childhood, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And in like first and second grade, she was the bee's knees.
I
I'm a
like
big
that term too.
yeah. Yeah, no, she was turned. As far as men I really like Kyrie Irving, and I like Kevin Durant. I love KD's, like, he's just all about ball. Like and I respect that, and like he's just like he's also kind of just a character, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
And I think Kyrie's just kind of funny, but he's also just such a baller. Like they're both like incredible, like just examples of work. I think most great athletes, right? Most great professionals are just, we all know that they're just byproduct of just incredibly hard work.
That's right. My favorite athlete of all time is Michael Jordan. For obvious reasons. Grew up, I know I'm older than you all, so like I grew up when he was like the guy. If I had to pick two on the women's side, it'd be Serena Williams, just for everything on the court, off the court, breaking every mold. The champion, I mean, in the conversation for top 2 athlete ever, male or female. And then on the men's side, it was post-retirement Kobe Bryant. To me, he had figured it all out, right? Like, he was the family dude, incredible husband, incredible father. He had like the support of women's sports, and the support of his daughter, and everything that she was chasing. His wife, I think he won an Emmy. Like he had just like he was doing it. So be Kobe.
I'd probably say Charlotte and Megan, just because I just watch what they do. I've been looking up for them for like 5 years, and I just keep on watching, see what they do, try to mimic that on on my field. So I'd say that they're my biggest inspirations right now.
Love that.
Thanks,
I
Reese.
can't wait for you
Of
guys to
course.
hug after this. All right, last one, best one. And I'd like to know what your go-to karaoke song is.
Oh,
Think about it for a sec.
I have too many, but I think throwback to this summer, Towson, Maryland. Alice Mercer and I on the mic singing "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
That's not where I thought you were going with that. But
What, you thought I was going with bad?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Either
Can't go
one.
wrong.
Give him the mic. Either one.
Mine's "The Chain" by Fleetwood Mac.
Ooh, good song.
Yeah, this is such a young person's question. Like, you guys, Charlotte has 50. He rattled his off like this. I'm sure Reese is about that. I've never sung karaoke. It hasn't
What?
happened.
No?
Never.
Uh-oh. I know where we're going
Hold
later.
on. But I've sung, like, at my house with my daughter's little karaoke machine. Like, we've sung Frozen stuff. I've never
That's a good
been
one,
in a
though.
bar and been like, yo, come, rip them up. Like, no, that's never happened. I'd probably do some sort of Ed Sheeran song. Like,
Oh, love
something
it.
like that.
Honestly, you could do Elsa.
I'd do
Yeah,
that. I'd
you
do
know
that.
it.
Yeah.
In
If
and
I
out.
get the opportunity, I'll shut that down.
Faith's daughters will love you for that.
There we go.
Big
All right.
Elsa fans.
Love it.
I don't really do karaoke, but like I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. Listen to Taylor Swift for every single game. So I just say anything Taylor Swift.
I like it.
Thoughts on her new album?
I don't like it.
Oh.
No.
Ooh, hot take.
I like
Oh,
old
Dream
Taylor
on.
Swift more.
Old Taylor can't go.
Why?
Like
Old Taylor.
country.
What's the
Yeah,
okay.
more like country
More
music.
country. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Texas.
I love
That
it.
makes sense.
I know,
Makes
generic.
sense.
Oh, that's awesome. We just got a hot take on the Dream On pod. Thanks, Reese.
Of course.
All right, well, that is where we're going to wrap up this episode, and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you in this room for making time, making space in your very busy, very inspirational lives for our listeners and for this project that I've been really excited to kind of put out into the world. So very grateful for all of your little nuggets, as Nakeie would say, words of wisdom and just pieces of advice and things that you all do every single day to inspire not only me, but everyone that sees a post or gets to shake your hand in person or, watches you shoot top right corner and the crowd goes wild, like whatever it might be. We are very grateful for each and every one of you, and thank you for being on the Dream On Pod.